Hi, welcome back to our series on learning to pray one blessing at a time. Today we're going to be looking at blessing number 4, what we should begin with before we start asking all of our requests. So let's go ahead and start by reading blessing 4 from the Amida, and it is called Binah, which is understanding, wisdom, and discernment. So let me go ahead and read that for you. It says, "You show favor to a man of knowledge, and you teach understanding to a mortal man. Be gracious to us. A mind of understanding and intellect is from you. Blessed are you, Yah, who favors us with knowledge." So after we've done the first 3 prayers, acknowledging who Yah is, his holiness, his promise, he's a promise keeper, a covenant keeper, and he sustains us. He promises resurrection. Now we're turning to our requests, which is completely fine to pray. He said to bring our requests to him. But I find it very interesting that we start not with asking for a list of things, but asking that he give us wisdom. And what that does is the first thing we're asking for is wisdom. We're saying, where do I need better understanding? Where do I need to change? What can I do? So as we're thinking about, we want to start with what do we need to do? Let's look at some scripture about asking Yah for wisdom. And let's start in Proverbs chapter 2 and see what scripture says about it. Chapter 2, verse 6. "For the Lord gives wisdom. From his mouth come knowledge and understanding." So our source of wisdom and understanding is from Yah. He's the one who gives it to us, because if we seek worldly wisdom, that's exactly what we're going to get. It's not going to be his ways that we will get. So James chapter 1 is a similar vein. I know a lot of us are familiar with the first chapter of James and how he promises to give us wisdom. It says, "If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask God, who gives generously to all without reproach, and it will be given him." So if we feel we need better understanding of a situation, we go to him. He promises to not only give it to us, but to give it to us abundantly. He wants us to have wisdom. Psalms 119 and verse 66. Let me get to 119. Verse 66, and it says, "Teach me good judgment and knowledge, for I believe in your commandments." And I find that one very interesting. True judgment and knowledge is found in understanding his commandments, which of course starts in Torah in the first 5 books, and the rest of scripture builds on that, giving us that proper understanding of what is right, what is wrong, what is justice and righteousness. We find that in this book, in scripture. That's where we need to be looking. So when we ask him for wisdom, we also need to be in this book asking him to show us what we need to change, where we need to step up and do something. I'm going to skip that one for right now. Proverbs 9. I'm going to go back to that one. Proverbs chapter 9 and verse 10. "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is insight." Again, true wisdom is based on what Yah shows us in scripture. That's where truth is. That's where wisdom is to be found. And we find this example when we look at King Solomon. Yah came to him in a dream and offered him anything he wanted. And we know that Solomon did not ask for riches or fame or any of those things that people tend to ask for. He asked for wisdom. It's in 1 Kings chapter 3 is where we find the story of Solomon. It says, we know that Solomon was still quite young when he was expected to take the throne. And so when Yah came and offered whatever he wanted, he said, "Give your servant therefore an understanding mind to govern your people, that I may discern between good and evil. For who is able to govern this, your great people?" So he, without asking for all of these other things, he says, "I have a job that you gave me to do. I am supposed to govern your people as king, and I don't know what I'm doing. I need your wisdom to be able to rule justly and rightly." And of course, we know the story that when he started with that request, Yeah, said, because you asked for that, I will also give you riches and fame and these other things added on to that. But when we take Solomon's example, and when we want to pray and we have these needs, we have these requests, if we start with, I need wisdom, I need understanding, and keeping that in the mindset that he has kingdom work for us to do, he has people in our lives that we are to care for, that we start by saying, I need wisdom to live out the purpose you have for me rightly. So then anything we ask after that, our mind is already, it's going to be within that light that we want wisdom first. And then anything else that we request, he is seeing that we want to do things his way first. So we're not coming to him and saying, fix it now. We're saying, help me to have the wisdom to see things correctly, to see where I need to do something, and to see where I need to be living out my purpose with the people that you have in my life, how to love them properly, care for them, whatever it might be. We need to come to him first with wisdom. And then as we go through all these other blessings in the coming videos, we'll see that we start with that framework. We start with approaching him with wisdom and asking for wisdom where we lack it, knowing that he will give it to us generously. So then all the other things, we have the right mindset first. And prayer should be, we should look at it as not, I'm coming to Yah and I want him to see what I need and what I don't have. It's that our mind is to be changed to match how he sees things. And that's a whole different way to look at prayer. So just to summarize, as we've come through 4 blessings so far, we always start by looking at who Yah is, recognizing his holiness and that he promises to keep the covenant and has done so throughout generations. And then when we begin to approach him with what we need, we start with asking for wisdom and the proper perspective so that when we ask for other things, as we will see, it's certainly appropriate to do, we already have the right mindset as we approach him. So I do have a printable again that can help you kind of journal through this blessing along with the ones that we've had for previous ones. You can find the link to download that down in the description, as well as links to other resources you may find helpful as we're trying to learn how to approach prayer in a way that's biblical and appropriate and shows the proper respect to our King. So go ahead and check out those resources down below. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video when we look at blessing number 5.